Let's do it. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from today. We welcome you. Thanks for joining our webinar, No Coding, No Problem. Like I said, we'd like to thank you all for joining us today. And we'd also like to thank Microsoft for sponsoring this digital event with us. My name is Carly, and I'm the marketing head here at WM Reply, and we've got a great session for you today. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So your presenters today, we've got a fantastic crew from both of our global offices in London and Chicago. So Wayne Mudridge is our Power Platform lead here at WM Reply. He'll be walking you through some use cases with Power Platform and also giving you an overview of what the platform is and what it can do for your organization. Next up, we have Annie Lee. Annie sits in our Chicago office, and she is one of our fabulous adoption and change management consultants there. So she will walk you through how to get your organization ramped up through the Citizen Developer Program in Microsoft. And then myself, as I mentioned, I lead the marketing efforts here at WM Reply. Just taking a quick look at our agenda for the day, we'll walk you through quite a lot today, but just so you have a high-level overview of what you'll be learning, Wayne is going to take you through the Power Platform overview. So most of you are probably familiar with this platform, but let's learn a little bit more about what it is and what it can do for your organization. We'll also cover some specific Power Apps use cases and case studies that we've done as an organization as well. So looking at some of our customers, what they have done with the technology and some of the specific business problems that they've solved with that. Everyone's favorite part, we've got some great demos for you as well, where you'll get to see firsthand how the technology works and comes to life. We'll follow that with an overview of the Citizen Developer Program and how you can implement that within your organization and take you through some next steps to get started. We'll of course wrap everything with a Q&A. So please, if you have any questions, you can pop those in the Q&A box on the side of your screen, and we'll get to all of those at the end. And without further ado, I'll turn things over to Wayne to go through what Power Platform can do.
Thanks, Carly, and hi everyone. Yeah, as Carly mentioned, my name is Wayne, Power Platform lead. What I'm going to start with today is just a quick high-level overview of the different products on the platform. The Power Platform, it has been around for a number of years. I'm sure most of you are aware, but it has seen many iterations, improvements, some name changes along the way as well. So I think it's important just to at least touch on the core products that we're going to speak around. And as you can see on the screen there, There's 5 key elements that we've got as part of the Power Platform. Power BI for your analytics, Power Apps for those applications, those user interfaces, Power Automate for the workflows, virtual agents for your chatbots, and then Dataverse for your database solutions. So all of those, except for Power Virtual Agents, we're going to touch on today. And as one of the demo, we're going to show you a solution that uses all of those elements, so you can really see where that fits in. Now, all of the products on the Power Platform, as you're probably aware, they're all that low-code, no-code solution. They're all of what you see is what you get. So you've got a drag and drop interface, really easy and intuitive to use. And then they're all designed to work seamlessly together. Over the years of the iterations that's come, it definitely is a citizen developer platform, and that's what we're going to speak around today. But actually now you've got pro development tools that will allow your organization to professionally develop and extend these applications to really scale them or give your citizen developers some nice products to be able to use. So if we just move on to the next slide, first up, what I'm just going to touch on is Power Automate. So as I mentioned, this is a workflow piece, so replacing things like used to use your SharePoint workflows and Dynamics workflows. We've now got Power Automate. It was born from the Logic Apps in Azure, if any of you are familiar with Logic Apps in Azure. So it was born from that to put the power in the end user's hands to enable the seamless automation and processes that can connect all of our applications together. I always say it's the unsung hero because it's always in the back of the in the background doing all of the work. So you've got the apps up front, and then you've got Power Automate doing everything in the background. It's got around 530 different connectors on there now, and those connectors can be utilized across the board when we start talking around sort of Power Apps as well. And one other piece just on the Power Automate that I didn't mention was Power Automate Desktop, which is an actual RPA, robotic process automation. So if you've got old HR systems, then it can connect to those as well without having to use an API or something that's online. But the star of the show is normally, as you can see on the screen here, it's Power Apps. Most people have had a play with Power Apps. It's the one that gets talked around probably the most. But some people aren't aware that there's 3 different kinds of Power Apps. So you've actually got a Canvas app, a model-driven app, and a portal application. And we will go through the difference between those in the demo as well, but a quick overview now. Your Canvas application is the one that you're probably familiar with. It's the ones that you would expect to see on your phone or your tablet. Really pixel perfect, nice graphical interface out there for the masses in there. So maybe it's a nice app to be able to submit a leave request. The model-driven application was born from Microsoft Dynamics. So actually it's more process driven and data driven. So a good use case for it normally is kind of the admin side of things, the HR departments, IT departments, somewhere where they've got a strict business process or lots of data to process through with the search capabilities. And then finally, you've got portal applications, which generally you could say are for people external to your organization. So people who don't have an Office 365 login for your organization, but still need to either consume data or even enter some data back for you. So yeah, 3 different kind of apps, and the solution, one of the demo solutions we'll go through, does have a canvas and a model driven, so you'll be able to see the difference and where they fit. And then next up we have Power BI, which I mentioned is the reporting one. So Power Apps is probably the one that gets talked around the most, but Power BI has been around the longest and is probably one of the best known because every organization has got reporting needs. So even if it's just showing some charts in Excel, every organization needs to report on their data. There's more and more data being generated in our organizations now. So Power BI must have at least been considered, I'm sure, in a lot of places, alongside things like SSRS and ClickView and Tableau and the competitors. What Power BI's key strengths really are the way it can do the ETL process, the extract, transform and load process. So connecting to multiple data sources, SharePoint, HR systems, SQL, bringing all that data together, knitting it together to show you a single unified report where you can apply your filters across the different systems. It's got a great marketplace as well. So as well as the standard visualizations that you get as part of Power BI, there's a marketplace where you can get free visuals or purchase visuals from citizen developers themselves that they've done, from your organization, or from third-party companies who put them up for sale there. And another key thing with Power BI, it's constantly evolving. For years and years, it's been having monthly updates. So it really is a strong product. And if ever you look at the Gartner quadrant, it's always one of the leaders in that side. And then last up for me to talk around is Database. So although this isn't a kind of product as such when we're looking at like Power Apps and Power BI, it can knit everything together in the background along with Power Automate, because this is your database. And whereas when you're using SQL or you're using another database solution, you need to know how to write scripts, or you might need a database administrator. You need to make sure you're doing your backups. With Dataverse, you don't. It's in line with the Power Platform. It's a graphical user interface. You click a button, you create a table, click a button, you can create a field. And integrated into that database solution is complex security. So you've got down to field level security. You also have automatic backups. You have auditing, so you can turn auditing on across all of the fields. And as I mentioned, you don't need to write any scripts to do that. And it is a full, true relational database. The last thing to add is it's what Dynamics has used for many years as well. So it's had lots of development gone into it from Microsoft. Okay, so that was a very quick review of those tools, as I'm sure most of you are quite familiar with them. And then the main benefits that we see with Power Platform, if you haven't started utilizing it yet, or you're only just dipping your toe in the water, so to speak, is definitely the speed. I can't reiterate enough how valuable that speed you can turn these applications or proof of concepts or MVPs around. There are probably lots of different solutions that in the past have never either got developed because of budget or time constraints. Well, now we've got this at our hands. We really can look back at those solutions to improve our business. Scale, I think originally or right at the start did get questioned a few times, but it's absolutely scalable, especially when we bring into the likes of it, Dataverse and Dynamics for the database. Dataverse and model-driven apps, which is derived from Dynamics for the database. As you know, Dynamics has been around for a long time and has scaled to huge enterprise organizations. So the scale is definitely there. And security is a big piece of it as well. There is 5 different levels of security that you can apply to the Power Platform, which we won't go into today, but we do on a separate webinar I'll touch on later. And you've obviously got your Microsoft authentication through Azure AD, exactly as you currently do now. So what I want to quickly look at is some use cases then, to really to start getting you thinking, either if you're using Power Platform but maybe not utilizing it enough, or you're just looking at getting started, where could we use it? So there's almost unlimitless scenarios of where you could utilize the Power Platform. I think a good starting point, normally a lot of organizations are working with, is almost anything paper-based. Anything that's still paper-based is going to be a long process, and there's potential for errors and loss, and probably no reporting going on it. Another key one is anything in Excel, really. I mean, Excel is a good solution for some things, but it's crazy to think how many organizations out there are actually running critical areas of their business on Excel solutions that have been built there. And those Excel solutions can just be sat somewhere on a server or on a laptop, even worse, the personal laptop. And if anything happens to that, obviously it can massively affect the business. By moving that solution over into the Power Platform, you are centralizing it. You're putting it on a platform where you can have some governance, and you can look at best practices and even help the people who are building those solutions. So it's just as capable and a better scenario than those Excel pieces. So as well as all of the ones that you're seeing on the screen at the moment, some other common ones that we're seeing, especially the last 6 to 12 months really, we're seeing lots of different request managements, whether it's simple service desk solutions or handling departmental requests. Obviously some nice quick simple ones, holiday and vacation approvals. A key one at the moment for almost everyone, that return to office, how we're going to handle it, and we're seeing lots of apps built with different ways of handling that return to office. Quite a few end of year sort of performance reviews or ongoing performance reviews, allowing us to report better, which you might see today. And then store specific, retail specific things like store audits or store walkthroughs of monitoring those monthly checks that has to go through, that can feed through to head office. Stock checking we've seen, so some nice stock check applications that can scan a barcode and use the AI platform to process that and report back. So we obviously can't show all of our clients' kind of solutions. It's personal to them, but I have got a couple of quick examples of some of the items that I've just mentioned there. And what you can see on screen now is a employee performance piece. So this was to replace a completely paper-based scenario where it was very hard half-year, end of year performance reviews. And what they wanted to do is change that up, and they wanted it to allow all of your colleagues to be able to give ratings throughout the year, which would then feed into your end of year's reviews or feed into your goal setting. So a Canvas Power App was designed and built. Obviously it's mobile compliant like you'd expect, and it also then fitted in Teams, which would allow people to rate each other's performance, feed that through into their end of year, and then some nice reporting on the background for HR to be able to see what's going on and that everyone's compliant and have done their end of year processes. Okay, another paper-based solution on the next example, really, a bit of like a health and safety app, and we've seen a few of these health and safety checklists, but this one specifically was again replacing a paper/Excel an Excel solution for any accidents, incidents, near misses in an events company. So rather than taking time to get processed through to head office, this was instant. So as soon as anything happened, you could complete the accident and injury form. It was instantly reported back to head office where it was processed, and obviously reporting is brought into there as well. So a couple of options there for sort of paper-based and Excel solutions. What's also out there, which some people may or may not know or may forget about, and it's a really good repository to use, is the Microsoft template. So Microsoft have been releasing templates for a couple of years for different scenarios to get us started. And one of the key ones that we mentioned was that return to office. This is an example of that, where you can take one of those templates, it's a Power Platform template, and then you can tweak and adapt it to meet your organization's needs or how you want to handle that particular situation. So an already quick platform can be made even quicker when you've got to start a template. And we've done that with numerous different templates, helping organizations to tweak those and build upon them. And one of those is that return to office that you can see in front of you here, which incorporated the COVID response as well as handling some of that return to office and reporting needs. And then finally, as I've said, Power BI across the board. So it's very rare that we either build a solution or help an organization with a solution anymore where there isn't some reporting needs on the back end of it. So almost all of the jobs that we do all have a Power BI reporting. It's instant reporting or near instant reporting, depending on your setup, and you can delve into that data straight away. So not only are you maybe speeding up the process by changing it from paper or Excel based, you're also then giving yourself a better reporting capabilities to dig into that data. So enough of me talking. Now we're going to move on to more of the demo section, and I'm going to hand over to Annie, who's going to talk us through a quick POC.
All right, thanks, Wayne. Hi, everyone. My name is Annie Lee, and I'm an adoption and change management consultant here in Chicago. So for one of our demos today, we're going to walk through the Return to Office Power App that sits within Microsoft Teams. As COVID-19 continues to evolve and many organizations adopt hybrid working styles, businesses and leaders have needed an effective way to manage this new way of working. So as Wayne just mentioned, we've adopted a low-code Power App template from Microsoft and then customized and built upon it for various customers. And today we will be looking at a prototype of this solution. And just give us one moment here, we'll pull it right up for us.
Hi, yeah, I think I can talk through. I think Annie just had a technical issue. For some reason, Teams has been playing up a little bit today. It's always the case when you're doing a webinar. So as Annie was saying, just while she rejoins, it's a return to office. It's a key topic at the moment that we have, and we're seeing lots of different solutions. So as well as the one that Annie is going to speak around here, it doesn't need to be as complex or even as intuitive as that. We've seen some really good solutions on top of the Power Platform using something like Microsoft Forms to do a really cut down version of that return to office piece, and then just hooking that up to Dataverse and Power Automate to do the automation. So there's lots of different levels that you can do. And now I've filled, Annie's back, so I think I can pass back over to Annie if you're able to share your screen now, Annie.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Wayne. All right, let's dive into the return to office prototype. So with return to office, what we've seen with a lot of our clients is that we would like to have managers begin the process, starting off with setting capacity rules and preferences for their direct reports and team members to be coming into the office. Those employees then going in to book the days that they're going to be in the office and sending that information over to their managers, and then managers being able to report back on that. So we're going to demonstrate that process here today. First, as a manager, I would come in to set my attendance preferences. Let's say for team capacity, I'd like a minimum of 30% of my team to be in the office at a given time, and a maximum of 80%. In terms of attendance for my team, overall, on average, I'd like to have a mandatory attendance of 3 days per week. And my preference as a manager is to have Tuesdays and Thursdays be the days that my team members come in. So once we set those preferences, we can apply them. And as you see on the right-hand side, we see this default populate for my team members. What's great here is that we can actually go in and tailor the preferences for each individual team member. So let's say for Eva here, 2 days should suffice, and she has flexibility in her role so that she can really choose any of the days that she wants to come in. There's no need for myself, her manager, to dictate which days I prefer. But for Ivan, on the other hand, he's one of our best team leads, and he's integral to really a lot of projects at the moment. So we're going to have him come in more frequently and set specific preferences around his attendance days to reflect perhaps the meeting cadence that he has with his teams. So once we've set the attendance preferences for each member, we can go ahead and confirm, make sure that we are good with our selections. And then those preferences and the fact that I've set them is going to be sent to my direct reports via an email notification. And that is done with Power Automate, as Wayne discussed earlier. Now, although I am a manager in this situation, I'm also an employee that has my own manager. And I also want to be booking my days that I'm going to be in the office. So to do this, we'll go over to the booking screen. And we see right away the number of days a week on average my manager wants me to come in, and the number of days for the month that I should be coming in as well. We can then use our color legend on the right to determine what days we should be coming into the office. So here we see a lot of orange outlined dates, meaning that those are the days that my manager prefers that I'm in the office. We also might see a red circled date, indicating that there are limited seats left in the office and capacity is getting a little tight there. And then we also see days in gray to indicate that the office is fully booked, no capacity, I should not be coming into the office that day. So what we can do here is start to click on days that we're interested in coming into the office. If we click on a day, we can first see who else will be in the office, likely from our team. And this can pull information from Microsoft's graph as well to see who we interact with the most. If I'm good with booking this day, I can go ahead and click book. And I can do the same for other days as well. For the sake of this example, I will select the days here in the rest of the month that my manager prefers I come in for. And we'll go ahead and confirm this. And similar to when you're booking a seat on an airplane, you have an opportunity to review or make changes to the booking at any time. In this instance, though, we'll go ahead and confirm. And we'll say that we're sure of our selection. And we're all good to go from an employee standpoint. Now that I've made my booking, then I can think about whether my team has made their bookings as well. And for that reporting aspect, we can go into the Report tab. We can select a week to see its detailed schedule, and then we see the team's bookings that they've selected for this week. We see who has booked, indicated by the red check marks versus the blue exclamation points, and we see the days that they've chosen and the number of days as well. If someone hasn't booked yet, what we can do is receive this notification as shown here, and if we like, directly go and chat with that employee just to check in, send a reminder, and just say, hey, keep in mind you might want to book your days in the office, or just to say, is everything all right? Checking in, just having that manager to direct report one-on-one conversation. So that takes us directly into a Teams chat with that employee. One key thing to notice is that all of this is in Microsoft Teams. So as I just clicked on here, this app is actually embedded into the left side Teams rail, which holds a lot of our favorite Teams functionality such as chat, calendar, calls, etc. So that really helps from an adoption standpoint in the sense that users are used to going into Microsoft Teams for a lot of their day-to-day work, and this is added right in there. And that really is our return to office solution. Popular solution these days, as we know, we've all been handling the pandemic and its evolution. But as you can see, the return to office solution is a great example of how Power Platform can quickly solve relevant business issues.
An interview and I want to hire a new person, then what I could do is I could come along to my Canvas application. So this is where we can make it pixel perfect. It's kind of that front facing one for the many, so all of the hiring managers have got somewhere to go to get reporting, submit that they want a new employee, maybe links through to their training. So this nice looking application that we put out there to the masses, the Canvas one. So I'm a hiring manager, I've done my interview and I go in to click on a new employee. I've got quite a basic form here, so you can spend a bit more time making this prettier. There's probably going to be a lot more fields that you have, but for the purpose of the demo, I'm just going to fill this in very quickly. So I might put the employee's name in there, who their line manager is going to be. Danny can be my line manager, what office they're going to be in, and maybe even what level they are, or they're going to be a manager. Okay, I can click on next and I can go through another step of the form, possibly save and along the way as we go. Maybe it's if I need to order them any equipment, they're going to need a laptop, but they're not going to need a mobile phone. So once I've done that, I can submit and that's gone. So again, if we're talking about old solutions or old options, maybe that was paper-based, maybe it was an Excel form I had to fill in and send to HR or to head office or IT to get that equipment. But what's happened now, I've just come to my Canvas application and it's submitted straight away and it's gone into the Dataverse, into its database. So my next tab to show you here is just a very quick look at what the Dataverse looks like. I said to you around it being that graphic user interface and quite easy to use. You can see here's a list of all my tables and I can click on a button to create a new table. I don't need any SQL knowledge. And I can see and search my new starter onboarding table and I can actually look at the data and see that submission that I have just done when it loads is right at the bottom here. So Danny Holding, the manager. So that's gone into the database, and I can add columns really easily by clicking the button and selecting the data types. So it's stored that data in Dataverse. But what we need as part of the organisation now is we need a solution or an application that HR or the recruitment team can pick up that data and start processing it. They need to onboard them. They need to get contracts signed. They might need to book them for training. And that's where the model-driven application comes in. So the next tab I'm going to show you here is a model-driven application. It's an insight to all that data in the database. And you can see the view that I'm starting on is a bit like a database. So in Excel, I've got the option to be able to search, to create views, to filter my columns. And right at the bottom, you'll see there's the person that I've just had a start on there as well. In fact, let me just give it a refresh because he wasn't there. Right at the bottom is the new person that I've asked to put on there. So when I click on them, I've got a form. This form is completely configurable again. The capabilities are coming more and more in line with a Canvas app, so you can start to make these look prettier, but the focus isn't on it making it pixel perfect. The focus is on the data and then taking it through a business process, which is this thing across the top. It's a business process flow. And this will help guide me on the steps that need to be completed in the HR team or the recruitment team, whoever's processing this through, to get this person on board and started with the company. So I need to send out contracts and offers. I need to create them maybe in a HR system. I need to order their equipment, and then they're onboarded. You can adapt these forms. You've got timelines that can create tasks, and you've got the concept of multiple tabs with different forms on them there, where I can submit data to say I've sent them an offer pack and what data that was all sent out on. As I'm doing that, that's all going to feed into this business process, which will turn certain options to yes. As you can see there, it's really realizing that I've sent my offer, and I can start progressing them through that business process right up until they're onboarded. And you can see I can take them all the way through. In the background, Power Automate is doing its piece as well. So when I submitted that, the hiring manager submitted it, Power Automate kicked in and it created me a task to tell me as the recruitment person that I need to go and book this person an induction. So I've done that with Power Automate, quite a simple one. And then in real life, maybe actually you've got some automation that's going to allow it to feed into the IT order system, or even direct to the third party where they could come in and actually order the laptop through here. So I can say I did need to order him some equipment. I needed to order him one person of equipment, and I could search the asset database and assign a laptop that I wanted to order for them. And then in real life, like Power Automate could kick in, and this could go and send that order through. So that was just a very quick demo of a model-driven app to show you where this would fit in that whole end-to-end solution. There is one other thing just worth mentioning, is you've got the concept of dashboards. This is completely different to Power BI and should not replace Power BI, but people who work within this system every day, day in, day out, to have a quick view of what's going on, it's a really nice option. I can quickly go and filter some records or see where my new starters are. Maybe even actually see the tasks that I have to complete and a bit of a task management, as well as any timelines for doing those and who's overworked. So you can build out these dashboards, quite basic dashboards, but good for everyday use. The last part of the solution is that reporting piece. So if we've got senior leaders, we've got the senior team, they don't want to have to come in here and start looking through the raw data. All they need is a nice way to be able to see what's going on around the organization, maybe where the new starters are, what levels they are, identifying if there's any leavers or more leavers and starters in a certain office, if they need to address that from any way. And as you can see, all of this works as you would expect with Power BI. It will filter all the different visuals to each other. And I can even right click and drill through to see the raw data. There's lots of capabilities of Power BI. So that was a very quick whistle-stop tour, but I think hopefully it really sets the scene of where each of these applications can be brought together to provide a solution, and not everything just needs to be a standalone piece. What I'm going to do is hand back or just ask Carly to start sharing the desk again, and just to reiterate the half a day to kind of turn that around, so it's not a shiny finished product by any means. What you can see on the screen here is a COE and governance model. So when people start using the Power Platform, or maybe sometimes the blocker to them using the Power Platform can be that they're not sure on the security and governance and they want to know more around that. So we're not going to touch on it today. There is a separate webinar 2 weeks yesterday on the 9th of November, where we go into far more detail of that on some of the technical elements and how we can use pipelines and the security levels and things, as well as the support and adoption, because the adoption is where you're going to get your return on investment by people using on it. But it is really, really important, that adoption piece, and that's what we're going to touch on a little bit today. Annie's just going to talk you through how you can get those citizen developers up and running. Over to you, Annie.
Thanks, Wayne. So as he mentioned, a unique way of nurturing adoption of Power Platform solutions in your organization is through a citizen developer program. So we're going to talk more about this here, but let's dive in first with an introductory video to begin. All right, so I think we might have had some audio challenges there, but we'll be sure to play the video again at the end so you can take it all in and all the benefits of a citizen developer program. But we are going to walk through it here today. So as with any technology, if you really want to realize true return on investment, you want to empower your people to engage with the solution and embed it further into your company's way of working. And because Power Platform apps are user-friendly and can be customized without a lot of strenuous effort, we can do this by creating an empowered body of citizen developers, colleagues that can create Power Platform apps on their own to address business issues. By establishing citizen developers, you can really achieve impactful solutions more quickly, give employees the autonomy and ability to create their own solutions, thus taking the onus away from your likely very busy IT department, and really embed a culture of both entrepreneurship and employee empowerment into your organization. And added bonus, creating a community of citizen developers can reduce your dependency on third parties like us, saving additional time and money for you. So what does a citizen developer program look like, and how do we go about creating one? The Citizen Developer Program is 10 weeks of training and mentorship with us, WM Reply, in which we guide your employees who are interested in being a citizen developer through the following steps. We begin by working with these developers to identify the business need they wish to solve and understand the gaps between the current state and where we want to be with the ideal state. We then help them define and refine their idea, clarifying the aims and benefits of the solution. And next up is design. We work with employees to design their apps, look and feel, concept, user flow, etc. And then we help them develop their app. And here we give extensive training on Power Platform in the process. And when it's time to test, we assist in the piloting of their solution with a small group within the organization, as well as user testing and feedback integration processes. And when it's all said and done, we help launch their app to the business. So by the end of the program, employees are equipped with the power to solve relevant business issues on their own and take things into their own hands with Power Platform. So as great as that all sounds, you might be asking, how do we get people to even be part of this citizen developer program? The answer to that is ADKAR, which is a tried and trusted change management framework that really applies to any type of organizational change. And ADKAR stands for Awareness, Desire, Knowledge, Ability, and Reinforcement. So how this applies to a citizen developer program is that WM Reply, or further into the future, perhaps a center of excellence, which we will discuss in our next webinar, would begin with awareness, spreading the word about Power Platform and its benefits, introducing the citizen developer program, and informing employees of how to get involved. Then we'd be generating excitement or desire. This is done by facilitating positive discussions about the citizen developer program and really explaining the what's in it for me. We can also do buzz events like hackathons to increase curiosity from throughout your employee base. So awareness and desire have a heavy communication and marketing type approach. Now that employees are interested in being a citizen developer, it's time for the Citizen Developer Program to really take flight and provide the knowledge and ability to develop those custom Power Platform solutions. And after they've completed the Citizen Developer Program and their solution is live, those initial developers then become champions, a source of knowledge and mentorship for future citizen developers. These champions also help keep the interest in being a citizen developer alive and reinforcing its benefits. So over time, that last reinforcement piece really develops into a cycle of internally run citizen developer programs, resulting in an in-house citizen developer community over time. As more and more citizen developers are upskilled, the community of in-house champions and developers grows, becomes experts, and guides the next quote-unquote generation of developers. So although a citizen developer program may feel like a substantial internal initiative to take on, the return on investment really is substantial when you think about the amount of money being saved with no longer needing third parties to develop solutions in the future, and by how much your organization benefits from business processes constantly being improved upon with new Power Platform apps. So the Citizen Developer Program and resulting community of developers really become your business's greatest in-house asset, and it really is something to invest in and something to embed in your organization. So what's a good way to get started with Power Platform and set yourself up for a citizen developer program in the future? I will now hand it over to Carly to walk through the available Microsoft Teams apps and solutions workshop to learn more.
Thank you, Annie. Fantastic job and information. That was very helpful. So if you are like myself and you're wondering how you get started on your own Power Platform journey, we have a couple options for you. The Microsoft Teams Apps and Solution Workshop is a fantastic one where we can come directly to your organization, work with your team members, the people that would be using it on an end user basis. And essentially this day-long workshop is designed to showcase how you can best leverage Microsoft Teams, Power Platform, etc. We go over the technology needed, how you can create a solution design that works best for your business, and ultimately how ACM needs to factor into that process. So the day-long agenda includes things such as that overview of Microsoft Teams. So if you're already using it, fantastic. If you're not, we'll give you a deep dive into some of the other possibilities you can do with that tool. We'll also look at a few scenarios. So what are those business use cases and solutions that we can look at that your organization can perhaps leverage on their own to increase teams' productivity? And we'll also cover some Power Apps overview. So Wayne walked us through some great examples of what other customers are already doing with Power Apps today. So we'd like to give you the chance to do the same. So you will walk out of that workshop with some ideas, maybe in some POCs, and to see how those Power Apps can work for you. So if you're interested in that or any of the topics that we covered today, please do reach out to us. emails are on the screen here for both Annie and Wayne. You can also expect a follow-up email from myself to be hitting your inboxes within the next couple of days. So please do reach out. We are more than happy to have a conversation with you. We are very passionate about ACM and also Power Platform. So please do make the effort to reach out if you have questions. And if you just want to learn more, as Wayne mentioned a couple times, we do have a second webinar in this series in 2 weeks' time on the 9th of November. So you can register with a QR code here, but this session will dive a little bit more into the COE setup and governance. So once you've decided to make the investment in Power Platform, how do you ultimately ensure that it's successful in delivering the results that you need? So feel free to register for that one as well. It's also free, and it will also be presented with Wayne and Annie and myself. So last but not least, we're going to open things up to questions. So if anybody would like to pop those into the chat window over here, we can go ahead and answer those. If you would like to ask something specifically towards Wayne or Annie, please feel free to do so. And then I will just field these out our experts. So the first question we have, guys, is where would one go to get the Return to Office app from?
It's the Microsoft template website. So if we're talking about the template one anyway, we've obviously delivered some custom applications. But what we can do is on those follow-up communications that Carly's just mentioned, I will put the link on there for the website where you can go and download all of those templates. It's not just Return to Office. There's lots of other useful ones on there to get you started as well. So yeah, we'll put that link on those communications we send out.
Great, thank you, Wayne. All right, next question is around pricing. So generally, what does leveraging something like Power Apps cost in licensing?
It completely depends, and I know that sounds a little bit like a cop-out answer, but it is completely dependent. It can range from obviously being free and the fact that it's already included in your license. So if you're on E3, 5 licensing, or even some of the F1 licenses for your frontline workers, you've got the capability to build Power Apps and build applications. Where the licensing or price comes into it depends on maybe the number of users, but really the data source. So I could use something like SharePoint as my database to do a quick holiday form or something like that. It's absolutely capable, and that's probably included in almost everyone's licensing. If I want to go to the next level and either use SQL or database or something that's more database driven, that can handle bigger data, that's where you would need the licensing. It is really cheap now. In fact, I think recently it's halved in price, literally half the price since the last year. And I know different organizations get slightly different prices, but it's absolutely affordable now. So I know that's not the exact answer, but it's the best I can do with that one.
Fantastic. Thank you, Wayne. All right, the next question is around if we've built out a queuing system for fully booked offices. Sounds like this is a use case application question.
Yeah, I think so. With the Return to Office app that we demoed the prototype of, that can really be built upon and customized in essentially any way that your organization wishes it to, within the boundaries of reason. But yeah, it's absolutely possible to configure a queuing system for fully booked offices so that, if someone decides not to come to the office, it could allow the next person to come in. This solution can also be integrated with other applications that your organization uses, such as one to book rooms and those types of things, just to ensure that everyone's getting in safely into the office. So it really is customizable. We've built Return to Office apps with a wide variety of different functionality, and it's already in use with clients. So there's definitely that art of the possible there.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's amazing what we can build out with that technology. And the next question I think is similar. So this person is wondering, what is ultimately the difference between a Power App and a Microsoft Teams app?
Okay, you can actually use a Power App to be a Microsoft Teams app. So Microsoft Teams is the platform where you can host your application. So you upload the application to the Teams store, and then you can access it via Teams, or you can put it on one of your Teams tabs. But there is probably two kinds of apps that we can put the buckets into. One is something that's built on a Power App and then used within Microsoft Teams. And then the other one is a coded solution. So if we're going to professional development, you can actually code applications within Teams that are the old traditional applications. But your use case or your resources to be able to do that is obviously restricted to a professional developer. Whereas if you've used the Power Platform, we can get citizen developers who can actually build out these applications, and we can still use them in Teams, the same as a native Teams app as well. But yeah, they're both really good use cases. There has been some applications where we've done the professional development in Teams over the Power Platform as well. So both good use cases.
Lovely. Thank you, Wayne. And the last question it looks like we have is around getting started with the Citizen Developer Program. So, Annie, I believe this question is around that 10-week program that you outlined. What would be the best way to get started, and what consideration should people look at first before reaching out?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. I think it's really important before delving into a Citizen Developer Program to make sure that your organization's leadership and sponsors of this initiative are fully on board, aligned. They understand really the investment that it is and how it's going to benefit their organization. From a change management perspective, I have seen time and time before that if you don't have that leadership engagement, sponsorship, endorsement, and your leaders kind of serving as your own champions for a change or an initiative, the likelihood that that initiative falls through increases significantly. So I would definitely recommend that communication and just transparency with your leadership is there first, and they're fully on board. And then engaging your employee base really and sending communications out to inform about this initiative, hosting meetings with groups of employees that you think could be potential citizen developers themselves, and just kind of probing the interest there so that when we are ready to do a citizen developer 10-week program, you have a group of interested citizen developers to engage with. And then really from there, reaching out to us at WM Reply, and we are more than happy to go through a citizen developer program with you and your prospective citizen developers, and just getting the ball rolling from there. I think behind the scenes, running at the same time, it is important to have that sort of Power App, Power Platform center of excellence and governance around how new Power Platform apps and solutions are going to be launching throughout your organization. So we'll be talking on November 9th about the Center of Excellence and how to really set up your organization from a governance perspective regarding Power Platform. But I think that having a Center of Excellence behind the Citizen Developer Program to support those citizen developers and give structure to their experience in addition to our 10-week workshop is really a recipe for success. So I hope that answers your question to whoever asked.
Fantastic answer, Annie. Thank you so much. And Charlie, if we can just get this slide up one more time. Like Annie mentioned, we do have that COE and governance webinar coming up in 2 weeks from now. So Wayne and Annie will be walking you through a little bit more detail on all of the topics that Annie just covered in her answer, as well as some more structural and strategic things to consider when rolling this out. All right, and I think that takes us to the end of our presentation today. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. We hope that you are motivated and excited about Power Platform, because we definitely always are. And please do join us in 2 weeks for the next session. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. Bye-bye.